Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Good day, it's November 15th, 2022, and it's 1 week ago today, featuring the red tsunami that did not come. I'm Esmeralda Padilla-Gould, and welcome to The Pulse.
And I'm Sam Buban. We begin with the biggest news of the year. The people had spoken, and in the midterm election where democracy was in the ballot, democracy won. And we will help you understand that this midterm election was the most consequential election of the past 50 years.
Hello! Well, first of all, thank you, Nevada. Thank you! I am so grateful to every volunteer who knocked on doors, who made phone calls, who wrote postcards and letters, and who had the courage to publicly stand up and fight for our state. Yep. And listen, to all Nevadans, whether you voted for me or not, I will always fight for you. Always. Now, as Frank said, We've known this was going to be a tough campaign, but like all of you, I'm a Nevadan, and I know what it takes to deliver for my home state. So when the national pundits said I couldn't win, I knew Nevada would prove them wrong. Because in Nevada, no one gets left behind. No one. And that means standing up for our families when no one else will. As a former Attorney General, I never, ever wavered in my support for our law enforcement and first responders, including our firefighters. They have the toughest jobs in the state, and they keep our families safe. So thank you for your support in this race, and I will always have your back. And I am also standing with the people who make this state run. Our workers, our essential labor. Every day, I am proud to call the men and women in organized labor family. You have been a part of my life since I was a child, growing up the daughter of a Teamster. And here's what I know. Yes, you built this country. You are the essential workers on the front lines every single day. You've protected our workers and their families here in Nevada, and I will always fight for you no matter what, because it is about our families. Thank you. As you all know, I don't forget where I come from. I have a grandfather who came from Chihuahua, Mexico, to this country for a better life. Grandmother from Las Cruces, New Mexico. And they worked hard. They worked hard, and my parents worked hard in this community growing up here to support our family. It is the story of so many Latino families across our state. It's the story of so many Latino families across the country, right? Right. I know my family, not only those that are here today, but those that have passed, would be so proud to see me serving as the first Latina in the U.S. Senate. Yeah! But even prouder to see me reelected. Like all of you, I've never forgotten where I come from and where my family came from. Every single day, I will continue to fight for our Latino community. So when far-right Republicans said they knew better, I knew we would prove them wrong, right? And today, we did. The victory is for Nevada and all of us, all of the hard work that we put into it. This election, Nevadans rejected the far-right politicians working to divide us. We rejected their conspiracies, their attacks on our workers, and their efforts to restrict our freedoms. 6 years ago, when you elected me to the U.S. Senate, I cast a deciding vote to protect health care for millions of Americans. And we know, without Nevadans, the Affordable Care Act would have been repealed. It was all of us working together. And I'm telling you, I am ready for more tough fights like that. So when Republicans try to force through a federal abortion ban, I'm going to stop them. I have stood up for Nevada every day in the U.S. Senate, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. Thanks to all of your hard work. We are going to not only continue to fight for Nevada, we're going to work hard to bring down housing costs for Nevadans so everyone can afford a roof over their head and a place to call home. We are going to keep creating these good paying union jobs right here in Nevada. Yeah. And we are going to ensure that every individual who works hard to provide for themselves and their families or in service to this country can retire with dignity. Yes. And I will never, ever give up fighting for our immigrant families.
Thank you.
Right? That means a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, our TPS holders, our essential workers, and our farm workers. These Nevadans deserve to feel safe here in their home, and I will work with anyone to ensure they are treated with dignity. Now, I have a lot of people to thank, including so many in this room, from all the organized labor, everybody, from the red shirts, right, to so many others, the blue shirts, to everybody that has been out here, standing behind me, purple shirts. This is Nevada right here. This is a representation of who we are when we fight for our working families, and we couldn't do it alone. Because when we stand together, we stand strong, and we can make a difference. We know it. And as Nevadans, I will never forget it and always, always have your back. Thank you. Thank you. Now, there's also somebody I have to thank because he has been with me from the very beginning, and he has had a tough time because I have to tell you, these races are hardest on the family. I have to thank my husband, Paul, who has been by my side every step of the way. And you know my family, I talk about them all the time. I have to thank my mother, Joanna, my sister, Cynthia, and all of my aunts, uncles, tias, tios, cousins, primos, nieces, nephews, everybody that has been out there fighting so hard and supporting. And then we would not have the success we have today without the strategic mind of so many people, but one person in particular who has been in this fight with me for so long. I have to thank Scott Fairchild. Yep. Now we celebrate and let's continue the work. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
The control of the United States Senate will remain in the Democratic Party, while the battle for control of the House of Representatives for the 118th Congress continues as 4 more races for the lower house of Congress continues. We want you to know that the control of the U.S. Senate has never been as important than this year's midterm election. Here's why. In the past 6 years since the Trump presidency, when the U.S. Senate was in the hands of the Republicans under the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, the war to chip away the rights of women and turn them into second-class citizens like you observe in many Islamic countries, were perpetrated by Republican alliance with radical white Christian evangelicals who find it convenient to attack and legislate against women's personal choices. Their 30-year project to stuff with Supreme Court justices that came from the Federalist Society finally materialized in 2020, when 2 Supreme Court justices who shares their belief and philosophy became members of the Supreme Court, enough to end a 50-year-old case law in Roe v. Wade. If the people handed the control of the U.S. Senate to Mitch McConnell, the hiring of pro-liberty, pro-democracy judges would have come to a screeching halt starting in January next year. He has done it before in 2016 on the last 2 years of President Obama, where he waited till a next Republican president was elected. That is the biggest consequence if the Republicans took control of the U.S. Senate. Judiciary would have fallen to federal judges and Court of Appeals court that are sympathetic to the Republican ultra-conservatives and white evangelicals who wanted to impose their religious belief on everyone in this country. Mitch McConnell was also dubbed by the mainstream media as the obstructionist-in-chief to any good programs the Democratic president wanted passed as a bill.
The control of the House of Representatives remained to be decided. Here are the 4 uncalled races that are likely to go either way and result in just might be a 118 for Republicans versus 117 for Democrats. A 1-seat majority never seen in the history of the U.S. Congress. It could go 117 for Republicans and 118 Democrats. Even if the Republicans take control of the House of Representatives, it will be harder for the would-be House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy to be an obstructionist in that kind of razor-thin majority. It is almost certain that several Republican lawmakers will cross over to votes with Democrats on bills or legislations that is good for their district. They will now be emboldened by the nationwide losses for the MAGA Republicans and how the country rejected Trumpism, even in the red states. We are going to go on a commercial break. Please stay with us.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Welcome back to The Pulse. After a tense and cliffhanger situation and waiting for ballots to be counted and results to be released, we now are certain that Nevada's congressional delegation will be returning to Washington for the 118th Congress. Democrats Dina Titus of District Congressional District 1, Susie Lee of District 3, Stephen Horsford of District 4, and Mark Amadei, a Republican of District 2. And Senator Cortez Masto are all being sent back to Congress by the people of Nevada. The race for governor will likely remain unresolved until the end of the week, with mailed-in ballots, included military and overseas ballots, still trickling into the county election office and can be counted if they were postmarked November 8th. That means that if Governor Sisolak will prevail in the final votes, his concession earlier to Joe Lombardo will not matter. He has to serve in that office as governor. Lieutenant Governor Lisa Cano Burkhead lost her seat and will be replaced by John Stavros, a Republican. As you well know, Nevada is noted for split-ticket voting in many elections.
There were many newcomers or first-time runners who actually won the election. In the state contest, Democrat Cisco Aguilar won as Nevada Secretary of State. And in the Assembly, we have Ruben De Silva of Assembly District 28, Yoy Yuen of Assembly District 8, and Erica Mosca of Assembly District 14, the first Filipino-American to be elected to the State Assembly. If Joe Lombardo will be our next governor in Nevada, we will have a situation called a divided government, where the state legislature is a Democrat and the governor is Republican, which will be the same in the state of Kansas, who elected a Democratic woman, Laura Kelly, and that of Kentucky, who elected Andy Beshear, a Democrat, as governor, while the legislature is Republican.
The Republicans were loudly announcing of a coming red wave, and MAGA candidates calling it a red tsunami in this midterm election. It didn't happen. Some media outlets described the result as a pink splash instead of a red wave. Pink as in not a real red. Many exit polls ranked their reason for voting Democrats instead of Republicans. Top on the list is their concern about the Supreme Court and the constitutional rights of women. Number 2 was their trust in the Democrats to fix the problem that we have. Number 3 is that people were tired of the Republican Party's divisive and unproductive politics, a scathing rebuke to Donald Trump among Republican voters. The state of the economy came in as a lower concern than the state of our democracy.
In California, Congressman David Valadao, who was believed by both sides as among the most vulnerable Republicans, being that he was one of the 10 Republican House members that voted to impeach Trump, is poised to return to the 118th Congress. The contest for California Congressional District 27 is between the incumbent David Valadao and Democrat Rudy Salas is yet to be decided. But Valadao is way ahead in the numbers of votes.
The Alaska congressional race is going into a second round of counting under Alaska's ranked choice voting. Peltola, who leads in votes against former mayor of Wasilla, Alaska, Sarah Palin, who was once a vice presidential running mate.
The Georgia race for the U.S. Senate is going into a runoff on December 6, 2022. Under the Georgia election rule that if none of the candidates reach the 50% votes threshold, a new election will be held where there are only 2 candidates remaining. If the Reverend Raphael Warnock wins and re-elected to the Senate, the Democrats will have 51 to 49 majority in the U.S. Senate, and will no longer need the Vice President to break the tie.
What are expected? How the Biden administration will continue to perform under a House of Representatives that is controlled by Republicans?
I believe the Republicans will not be successful in obstructing the President's agenda. First, because any attempt to unilaterally enact a bill that will harm and not beneficial to Republican districts will stay in the House, and there will not be a Senate version of the bill. And if Democrats present a bill that will be good to districts that are represented by a Republican, some Republicans will reach out to the other side of the aisle and vote with the Democrats to pass the bill, leaving the obstructionists with angry constituents, which will jeopardize their re-election bids 2 years from now. Meaning such obstructionism will work against them in the re-election or during a primary and general election in 2024. The Republicans will be walking a fine line this time due to their very slim majority in the House.
We are towards the end of our show, so Uncle Sam, what is expected in our next episode here at The Pulse?
Well, perhaps by then all the House races has been called, and just maybe we can have 1 or 2 election winners to join us in our show and introduce them to our viewers and give them some insights, give us some insights of how they will govern.
Well, I'm excited about that. That would be a good thing to have. Well, until next time, I'm Esmeralda Padilla-Gould. Thank you for being with us.
And I'm Sam Buban. Thanks for watching and have a safe week.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
With the many recent changes and focus on immigration law, now more than ever is the time to seek the help you need from an attorney you can trust. As an immigrant myself, I know the many difficulties and hardships involved in immigrating to this great country. With more than 10 years of experience in handling immigration cases, our firm can provide the necessary answers and solutions to your needs. Call Calderon Law today so we can work together to help you get the peace of mind you and your loved ones deserve.
The views and opinions expressed in the media or comments on this program are those of the speakers or authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by FilAmTV Network. Due to the social nature of FilAmTV Network, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. FilAmTV Network claims no copyright to said content.